So it's Russell Brand this week, isn't it? What do you think of it? Seriously, what do you think of it? When you think the Russell Brand, did you see it on Saturday? It was our day off on Saturday, and it came up on Twitter early on in the morning that Dispatches were going to do a programme about a high-profile celebrity. Wouldn't say who it was, and then halfway through the day, I think it changed its name to Russell Brand Hiding in Plain Sight or something like that. So I said to Shell, I said, look, I fancy watching this, I just want to see. And the reason why I fancy watching this is because I've actually, in the last few years, dipped in and out of what Russell Brand gets up to. When I first realised who Russell Brand was, and I first started watching him, most probably like the same as you guys, I thought it was a bit just an absolute gobshite. I really did. I thought, what is this? Just so he can throw some eloquently big words together, does that really make him somebody who's supposed to be funny? And I actually didn't find him funny. I saw him go on the after show for Big Brother, and even though he was a bit mental on there, he actually calmed down a bit. My opinion changed of him, let's say then. He then made it into Hollywood, where it was an ideal place for him, it was an ideal space for him to make his name, because he was such a different character, you know, another Jack Sparrow style. That's where he made his money, because he did a couple of big films. He didn't do many, just a couple, but made his fortune. And that almost then gave him permission to not chase the rat race anymore, to not follow the line of what TV and media expect, and then to maybe give him a bit more freedom of speech, and go his own way and talk, you know, and talk about what he thinks of his own values rather than following what mainstream thinks. Because I think the backstory, the backstory is quite important. I admitted a couple of vlogs ago that I was fooled by mainstream media up until about 8 years ago, about 7 years ago. So if it was on BBC One or ITV or Sky News and it was said, then that was it. It was the truth. That's what I thought. It's actually only when it came off that media and started moving on to YouTube that all different types of media, all different types of stories came into my periphery, that I started questioning mainstream media. And then the more you look into it, the more you realise that mainstream media is just a pack of lies anyway, really. This is where the whole Shelley goes, are you a conspiracy theorist? It's like, no, I'm not, but I will listen to I would like to listen to every side of the argument before I actually make a judgmental decision myself. And then, based on what I know from all sides of the argument, I'm going up the head again, sorry. Based on what I know about all sides of the argument, I can then make the decision what I feel is what I perceive to be correct. I think that's a fair way of putting it. Come here. So, this show airs on Saturday night. Channel 4 documentary speaking to 5-6 women who were saying allegations of rape, sexual misconduct. Before that came on though, I'd already seen on Twitter Russell Brand's reply to this in a statement that he put out, saying that he's received a letter and an email regarding that there's a show coming out that's going to be detrimental to him. And, you know, he's already almost come out fighting, going, listen, I've told you how promiscuous I was in the past. I've told you I had a promiscuous past. I told you I was a sex addict. I told you most of the stuff I've written in my book anyway, or everything I've written in the book. And these allegations, there's nothing new on here. And it's just a witch hunt to calm him, you know, to quieten him down. So I've already seen that, and then the show comes on. And I've got to say, after an hour I turned it off. I mean, you can't, it's like, how can you turn it off after an hour and then think you can make a vlog about it? And the reason being is because I've most probably, at the time, saw through it all. There was nothing in that hour that was illegal. There was nothing in that hour that was, well, that's the word, isn't it? It's illegal. There's nothing there that was legal. I'm not going to defend what he says or defend what's happened. This vlog's about is how Joe Public was supposed to find the truth in the myriad of shite that's thrown about across all forms of media. And then somewhere in there is the truth, isn't it? You know, the black and the white, the left and the right. Eventually somewhere in the middle is going to be the truth. And this is what the This is what this vlog tends to be about, really, more than anything else. It's not about who's right or who's wrong, because social media, other platforms, Twitter, TikTok. Well, we know TikTok listens to you, and then it steers its feed due to the algorithm towards towards the direction that you're looking at. So my TikTok feed is literally, it's another fly. You just do not give it up there. My TikTok feed now is more directed towards conspiracy theories, towards Russell Brand. And this is what the main crux of the vlog is. It's really quite interesting, the information that we get, because I'm getting a left and I'm getting a right view on both sides. And I've got to tell you, they're both extremely, extremely compelling arguments on either side. So I didn't want to make a vlog saying he's right or he's wrong. But first of all, what we do know is that he's just left YouTube. He's gone to another platform called Rumble. He's got 6 million followers there. He's got millions more on Twitter as well, so he's got a lot of support. And day in, day out, for those of you who don't know what Russell Brand actually does on this channel, day in, day out, he does fact-based commentaries, a bit like this, but fact-based, or mainly on big pharmaceutical companies, how much money they've made since the COVID outbreak. He's looked at the Jeffrey Epstein case, all fact-based. He's very, very factual in what he's done. He's completely different to the person that we remember from the TV, from mainstream 10, 12 years ago, where it was just all about acting around a bit like an arse. It was more now, it's a lot more journalistic what he does, and the followers seem to like it. And it's not, I'm not going to say conspiracy, but it's anti-establishment against media, not against the establishment itself, but against the media establishment. And that for sure, first things first, is when you've got a man who has money made from Hollywood, who doesn't need the money to chase anymore, so therefore he can go his own direction, who's then intelligent enough to have his own freedom of speech, who then has a platform with enough followers. He has a platform with enough followers to be able to release that speech, knowing that people will believe him. Eventually, he feels, and other people feel, that big marketing companies or big media companies, or people from above, will want to quieten him down. And the first way you can quieten somebody down is, first of all, discredit them. Publicly discredit them. And after that, then you could discredit them criminally, put them in prison, and just eventually quieten them. And that is a very, very strong argument from one side of the social media, because it's trial by social media at the moment. And why these women, never decided to go to the police and go through the judiciary system and correctly. It puts some. Do you not think it puts a mockery on the judiciary system in the UK now that it's actually trial by television? Happened with Prince Andrew, happened with Philip, happened with Hugh Edwards. In that essence, it's like for this one, for Channel 4 dispatches, just to go, I'll tell you what, let's just go and do a show about him. Let's stick it out there and just let's throw the grenade. And once we've thrown this grenade, what we can do is we can just watch, the debris and then the dust settle in and see what's going on and the outfall from it. That's the first one that's the first side that I see. And that side I find really, really interesting. And I'm like, yeah, these women should have gone to the police. When you've got 5 women, was it 5 women? 4 of them were anonymous, actresses, hidden voices. You can't really see the truth. They don't show the truth on somebody's face. It is definitely trial by media, trial by TV. The next side of it, which I find equally interesting, is the people that are coming out after Russell Brand, coming out for him, quite rightly, they say, because this is what he's done, he's committed these crimes. But what they reckon is that, and this is what's really interesting, is they reckon that ever since the Me Too movement, remember the Me Too movement, #MeToo, he knew one day that people will be coming for him because of the acts that he's done and because of in their eyes, because of the crimes he's committed. So what he's done in this period from then until now is he's managed to create almost like a godlike cult following of 6 million people who are anti-establishment, anti-media, anti-mainstream, to protect him, no matter what people say, no matter what media say. So therefore, when I look at that side, I go, yeah, that makes sense as well, doesn't it? That makes sense. If you were in that position, what would you do? And that definitely makes sense. So it's like, and that's the question, who do you believe? Who do you believe? So then when you've got that, and then you've got TikTok, which is almost like a kindling of stoking fire, because all it is, it's just the kindling that stokes the fire, really, TikTok. It's a bizarre thing, and I listen to it, I watch TikTok, but I don't follow it, believe it. I generally like to make my own. I think I see it more on a transparency basis, but it is definitely a kindling, and it is literally just everything's Russell Brand, and it's them for and against. Kate Hopkins coming out, funnily enough, in favour of Russell Brand, even though Russell Brand called her a Nazi, because she thinks she sees the bigger picture. I saw a very interesting interview. I watched a very interesting interview on the Joe Rogan podcast with Russell Brand. I listened to it about 2 months ago. It's like a 3.5 hour conversation that they had. And I've got to admit, when I listened to it, my view on the guy can change completely. I thought very, very intelligent, very eloquent, very studied. Everything was fact-based. Everything was fact-checked. So it wasn't just like me now, just spouting. It was all figures. It was all amounts. It was a lot of it with COVID and who made the money and how they made the money. Big pharmaceutical companies, how they made their money. And then the black and white of it is those people, the people who are for Russell now, believe that the big companies, the bigger people, are just trying to cancel him. I saw a good tweet the other day, believe it or not, from Matt Letizia. I don't follow Matt Letizia either, but I saw it, and he said he'll only start believing mainstream media once they start investigating who is on the Brian Epstein flight log lists. When you think about a man like Brian Epstein, who went to prison, Ghislaine Maxwell went to prison for child trafficking offences, that's why she went to prison. So who she trafficked the children to, there must be a list, there must be a flight log, there must be the flight log, well, it's definitely a flight log. Yeah, that list hasn't arisen, nobody's investigated that list of all these big people. All of a sudden it's just disappeared. Mainstream media are not talking about it at all, when really I think that's most probably the news. I think that's when we know when the actual truth will come out. So whichever side you're on, if you believe Russell Brand is guilty, that's your prerogative, that's your choice. If you believe he's innocent, that's your choice, that's your prerogative. At the moment, I'm on the fence, but I don't believe the show was put on TV to prosecute Russell Brand. I think it was more there to silence him, and that's my view. So whether he's right or wrong, whether he's guilty or innocent of the charges, that's a different matter. But the main crux behind the making of the programme wasn't to find a man guilty. I think it was to silence a man. My feeling is he's cancelled from TV anyway. He'll never get back on TV, but he don't care. He doesn't need to get on TV. He's cancelled from Hollywood, but I think he's already walked away from Hollywood. And I generally think he'll survive. I think he'll survive this. And when I say he'll survive it is, he's got a big enough amount of followers on free channels. He even moved off YouTube, because YouTube you can get 3 strikes and then you're off the channel. So he even moved off YouTube and went onto another channel called Rumble, where he still took 6 million followers with him. And I think he'll survive this. I genuinely think it's something like in war when somebody shoots you and you get hit with a bullet in the side, but you survive. I think that's my view. I think will happen, but well, only time will tell. Only time will tell. Anyway, hope you found it interesting. I find this sort of thing I really find interesting. Check out Joe Rogan's interview with Russell Brand. I will actually leave the link below because I think it's quite important. If you've got 3.5 hours of your day, I listen to it in chunks. You don't need to listen all at once. Go take a listen to that because it's fascinating, it really is. And it's only recent, I think it's maybe the last year or so. It's a very, very good interview. And let me know in the comments what your conclusions are. I think this will divide the comments again, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm not looking for people to agree with me. I'm just looking to see what people think, okay? As always, enjoy your day. I'll leave you with Rolo. I'll see you on the next one. You know what to do.